A group of pale-faced men hung their heads, as if searching for something. They didn't let a single scrap of evidence on the ground slip through their fingers. Suddenly, a scream pierced the air. It was as if they'd caught a whiff of the scent they'd been craving for ages. They perked up instantly and swarmed over like sheep. The source of the scream was an elderly woman who tripped and fallen, but after sizing her up, they found nothing of interest on her. Disappointed, the pale-faced men turned and left. Moments later, another loud crash rang out. Once again, the men's spirits soared. This time, they spotted a luxury car and an electric scooter. Standing nearby were a wealthy-looking man and a scrawny guy, whose arm bore obvious scrapes. Based on the so-called evidence at the scene, the pale-faced men jumped to a conclusion in an instant. They stated with absolute conviction. Recounting their version of what must have happened to the crowd, the scrawny guy was riding his scooter and accidentally scratched the rich man's fancy car. They claim. Now the rich guy is trying to extort a fortune out of him for damages. The crowd ate it up. Their pale faces flushed bright red with indignation, and they immediately hurled insults at the wealthy man. The millionaire tried desperately to explain what had really happened, but the barrage of jeers drowned him out completely. No one would listen, seizing the chaos. The scrawny man grabbed a bag and tried to bolt, but the rich man lunged forward and hauled him back. As the two tussled, a hand suddenly shot out from behind the crowd. It latched onto the wealthy man's thick gold chain, yanking him to the ground. Then, in the name of justice, the attacker began pummeling him relentlessly. Amidst their endless assault and abuse, the wealthy man slowly lost consciousness, still not satisfied. The mob turned their rage toward his luxury car. Clutching their self-righteous sense of justice, they vandalized the vehicle with reckless abandon, as if they were the real victims of the whole ordeal. They egged on more and more bystanders to join in. As their ranks swelled, they drew the attention of even more passersby who, without a second thought, donned red masks and joined the fray, as if they'd finally found an outlet for all their pent-up frustration. Even young children, too naive to understand what was happening, jumped on the bandwagon, mimicking the adults' violent behavior. As the story blew up online, the wealthy man was trapped with no way out. And no matter where he went, he was subjected to a storm of vitriol from these self-proclaimed heroes of justice. In the end, he crumbled under the overwhelming pressure and collapsed beneath their fangs. Just then, the elderly woman who'd fallen earlier crawled out from the crowd. She snatched her purse back from the scrawny man and told the truth about what had really transpired. She'd been crossing the street when the scrawny guy had zoomed by on his scooter and stolen her purse. The wealthy man had witnessed the robbery and chased the thief in his luxury car. He'd just been about to retrieve the purse when the mob of justice warriors had descended on him, and the rest, as they say, was history. Once the truth came to light, the media went into a frenzy, hailing the wealthy man's act of bravery. They laid wreaths in his honor to pay their respects. Meanwhile, the mob of men whose faces had turned bright red with anger just moments before suddenly went pale again. They gathered around the wealthy man's body, singing his praises effusively. When the medical examiner announced the cause of his death, they even feigned looks of shock and grief, mourning the loss of such a good man. Then, without a hint of remorse, they turned and walked away, acting as if nothing had happened already in search of their next target for public outrage.